Alright, today we will be learning how to find moles. And the first thing I want to kind of get down to find the moles is for us to understand what a mole is. So, a mole is basically just a number used to count, right? And it can be used to count atoms, molecules, ions, and the variable for moles is n, just lowercase, plain and simple, right? And it's actually quite a large number. It's 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, which is also referred to as Avogadro's number. And if that still doesn't really clear up what a mole is for you, here's another way to think about it. So I know we're familiar with a dozen. A dozen is 12. You know, we can have a dozen eggs, a dozen donuts, a dozen anything, a dozen calculators, a dozen headphones, a dozen phones, you name it, right? We can also have a mole, one mole. So we can have 1 mole of, let's say, sodium, 1 mole of sodium chloride. There's several things, right? And that's just the first key concept we need to understand. So now that we have a basis of what a mole is, now we can learn how to solve for a mole, right? So typically I like to think of it as a recipe. Let's say, you're cooking a burger. You need your bun, your patty, your lettuce, your tomato, cheese, whatever you want to put on it. In this case, we need our grams and our molar mass, right? So our molar mass is found on the periodic table, right? And our grams are usually given in the equation. Nothing too crazy, right? It's pretty simple. So here's what each variable means if you need a little recap. So N is moles, M is mass, which should be given in grams, and then MM, which is capital, should be molar mass. That's usually given in AMU. It's not given anything else, so don't worry about that. And then if you're curious where to find molar mass, it's on the periodic table. It's usually under the element name, so displayed like this, right? And here's what the question would look like. You're given blank amount of blank element, and it wants you to calculate for moles. So like, let's say I was given 80 grams of oxygen. How many moles of oxygen do I have, right? That's how they look. And then just a quick little summary. These are the tools you need for these type of problems. You need the periodic table of elements, so you can find your molar mass, and then your mole equation. That's it. Alright, moving on now. Here are the practice problems. So you'll have a very similar question like this. It'll give you your molar mass if your professor's feeling nice. If not, you know how to solve that. Just go find your periodic table, locate the element, and then we'll move on from there. So assuming that you're already given your molar mass, just how many moles would you have if you were given 30 grams of sodium, which is Na, and the molar mass of sodium is 22.990 grams per moles. That's how molar mass is displayed. So in this case, we have our equation, N equals grams over molar mass, right? We have our grams, so 30 over, and then our molar mass, 22.990. So we can highlight it just so we can keep up with what we're doing. And then this would equal, let's punch into the calculator, 0.22990, which would give me 1.305 moles. So I can put moles of sodium, right? And that's that simple. That's how many moles I have. We're given our equation, N equals grams over molar mass, right? And in this case, we're given 500 grams of sulfur over 32.06, which is our molar mass, right? And from there, all we do is 500 divided by 32.06, which would give us 15.59 moles of sulfur. And it's that simple. All that you have to do is just divide your grams by your molar mass. If you have any questions or need any help with anything else, there's more videos to come, and of course you can ask in the comments down below or shoot me an email, which will also be down below. Whatever helps. I'm here to help chemistry students that might need that extra little bit of help. So yeah. Alright, well, I will see y'all in the next video.